Hello everybody! If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 769, The Last Delivery, Intermediate. On a wet Thursday evening in October, Daniel stood outside a large office building, staring at the glowing screen of his phone. A message from his manager flashed across it. "One more delivery tonight. It is urgent." Daniel sighed. He had already worked 10 hours for SwiftDrop Couriers, cycling across the city with a heavy backpack full of parcels. His legs ached and the rain had soaked through his jacket. Still, he needed the extra pay. The final package was small and light. According to the label, it had to be delivered to a technology company on the 20th floor of a modern glass tower in the business district. Daniel did not recognize the company name, but that was normal. New businesses appeared every week. He secured the parcel in his bag and began to cycle. Traffic was slow because of the weather. Cars moved carefully, their headlights shining on the wet road. Daniel felt tired but focused. He had always taken pride in being reliable. When he first moved to the city 2 years earlier, he promised himself that he would work hard and build a better future. This job was not his dream, but it paid the rent and gave him time to think about what he wanted next. When he reached the glass tower, a security guard stopped him at the entrance. The guard checked the delivery details and made a phone call. After a short conversation, he nodded and allowed Daniel to enter. The building felt warm and smelled of fresh coffee. Bright lights reflected on the polished floor. Inside the lift, Daniel studied his reflection in the mirror. His dark hair was flat from the rain, and there were circles under his eyes. "Just one more," he whispered to himself. The 20th floor was almost empty. Most of the lights were off, and the open office space looked deserted. At the far end, however, one room was still brightly lit. A woman in her 40s stood by a desk covered in computer equipment. She wore a grey suit and thin glasses. When she saw Daniel, she smiled with relief. "You must be the courier," she said. "Thank you for coming so late." Daniel handed her the parcel. She signed its digital form quickly, but did not open the package. Instead, she looked at him carefully. "Do you know what you are delivering?" she asked. Daniel shook his head. "No, we are not told what is inside." The woman hesitated, then said, "It is a memory drive. It contains the only copy of a presentation that my team must show to investors tomorrow morning. Our network failed this afternoon and we lost access to our files. This drive could save our company." Daniel felt a sudden interest. "That sounds important." "It is," she replied. "We have worked for 3 years on this project. If we fail tomorrow, we will lose everything." For a moment, Daniel imagined what it would feel like to lose years of effort in a single day. He thought about his own unfinished plans. Before moving to the city, he had studied graphic design at college. He had talent, and his teachers encouraged him. But when his father became ill, Daniel left his course to earn money. After his father recovered, Daniel never returned to his studies. Life had simply continued. The woman connected the drive to her computer. Both of them watched the screen. After a few seconds, several files appeared. She let out a long breath. "It worked," she said softly, her eyes filled with tears. "You have no idea how much this means." Daniel smiled. "I am glad I could help." She closed the computer and turned to him again. "Wait here a moment." She stepped into another room and returned with a small envelope. "This is not from the company," she explained. "It is from me, a personal thank you." Daniel opened the envelope and saw several banknotes inside. It was more than he usually earned in 2 full days. He immediately shook his head. I cannot accept this," he said. "I was just doing my job." "You were doing your job well," she replied firmly, "and tonight that matters." After a short pause, Daniel accepted the money. He thanked her again and left the building. The rain had stopped and the air felt fresh. As he cycled home, he kept thinking about the conversation. The next morning, Daniel woke earlier than usual. Instead of checking for new delivery requests, he opened his old laptop. He searched for his college portfolio, which he had not looked at in years. The designs were simple, but they showed creativity and ambition. He felt a mixture of pride and regret. Later that day, he received a message from an unknown number. It was the woman from the office tower. The presentation was a success. The investors agreed to fund us. Thank you again. Daniel read the message twice. He imagined the team celebrating, their hard work rewarded. He realized that he wanted to feel that same sense of achievement in his own life. That evening, he visited his former college. The campus looked the same as he remembered. He spoke to an administrator about returning to complete his qualification. The process would not be easy. He would need to study in the evenings and continue working during the day. It would require discipline and sacrifice. As he walked back into the street, he felt something he had not felt for a long time: direction. Over the following months, Daniel balanced work and study. He was often tired, but this time the exhaustion had a purpose. Each project he completed brought him closer to a goal that belonged to him. Occasionally, he passed the glass tower during his deliveries and looked up at the 20th floor. It reminded him of the night when a simple parcel changed his thinking. A year later, Daniel stood in a different office, presenting his design portfolio to a small creative agency. His voice was steady as he explained his ideas. When he finished, the director smiled. "We would like to offer you a position," she said. Daniel felt a wave of gratitude. He thought about the rain, the long rides across the city, and the envelope of money that had helped him pay his first semester fees. He also remembered the woman who had said, "You are doing your job well, and tonight that matters." He accepted the offer. On his first day at the agency, Daniel placed his old courier bag in the back of a cupboard. He did not throw it away. It was a reminder of where he had started and of the evening that proved something important. Even the smallest task can lead to a larger change. The last delivery of that wet Thursday had reached its destination. More importantly, so had Daniel. Vocabulary notes. Reliable, meaning someone who is reliable can be trusted to do what they promise and to do it well. Example, he had always taken pride in being reliable. In the story, Daniel is described as reliable because he completes his deliveries carefully, even when he is tired and the weather is bad. Similar words: dependable, trustworthy, responsible, consistent. Extra example: Maria is a reliable employee who always arrives on time and finishes her task before the deadline. Deserted, meaning a place that is deserted is empty, with no people present. Example: most of the lights were off and the open office space looked deserted. Here, deserted shows that the office was almost completely empty late at night. Similar words: empty, abandoned, vacant, silent. Extra example: the streets were deserted after midnight and not a single car passed by. Hesitated, meaning to hesitate means to pause before doing or saying something, usually because you feel unsure. Example: the woman hesitated, then said, "It is a memory drive." The woman pauses because she is deciding whether she should explain what is inside the package. Similar words: paused, delayed, wavered, doubted. Extra example: he hesitated before answering the question as he was not certain of the correct response. Achievement, meaning an achievement is something important that you succeed in doing after effort and hard work. Example: he realized that he wanted to feel that same sense of achievement in his own life. Daniel wants to experience success and pride from reaching a meaningful goal. Similar words: success, accomplishment, triumph, result. Extra example: completing her degree while working full-time was a major achievement. Sacrifice, meaning a sacrifice is something you give up in order to gain something more important. Example: it would require discipline and sacrifice. Daniel understands that he must give up free time and comfort in order to return to college and improve his future. Similar words: compromise, loss, surrender, giving up. Extra example: they made many sacrifices to save enough money to start their own business. Story written by ChatGPT. Image created by ChatGPT. To read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.